almost heaven, Rocky Mountains, Sawtooth Ranges, Grand Teton Valley. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, clawing at the breeze. Take me home, country roads, to the place I belong. Rocky Mountains, Blue Mountains, take me home, country roads. Gosh, I just barely leaving the middle of the Rockies, and I already missed them. That's sad, isn't it? Yeah. Why does a single tear goes down my eye? Oh. So stayed the night at Vig's. By the way, you should all hunt him down on Twitch, and I think it's Twitch. Yeah, I think so. And tell me what he's like. He won't let me watch him. He's self-conscious. He's like, "No, Joe, you don't get to watch me stream." So Joe doesn't get to watch the stream. So self-conscious. So you all have to go watch him. I'll hopefully a week from now I'll go down and like update and put his name in the, because I can kind of pronounce it. It's Icelandic. Roland knows it, although I don't think Roland's watched the stream either. Anyways, yeah, leaving Utah. I would have been much farther, but I ended up staying too long talking to Vig, because this will be my last time seeing him. And God, you can't, no, you can't crawl onto my lap right now. I'm sorry. I'm driving. I know. You don't like Utah either. You slept through Idaho, and then as soon as we hit Utah, you were like, no, I'm done. God, I got a cat sneaking. Yeah, no, crawl back up. There you go. There you go. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. Let's see if I can move the camera so you can see her butt. There's Alice. Yeah, I'm sorry. That made it worse, didn't it? But, yeah, she tried to crawl down onto my lap. I was like, no, you can't. She doesn't like Utah. Like I said, she slept all through Idaho, and she was sleeping through northern Utah. And then we hit Provo, and she just woke up. And she was like, I'm done. I don't like this. Now that we're leaving Utah, she's starting to calm down again. I slept on a couch last night, so she ended up, I put the heater on in the car and all that other stuff, and so she had the kitty litter and her food and water set out, while her kitty litter's always open. But so is the food and water. It's in the back, on the other side of the blankets. But, yeah, this will be the last night that she has to spend. The last night was the last night she'll spend alone. The rest of it, I'll be here in the car with her. Although, looking at the map, I think we're only going to have to spend, if everything goes right, I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there Saturday. If I could eat up enough miles today. The only thing I'm worried about is other cars, because there's been a lot of snow and stuff like that, and I'm not really worried about winter driving because I'm from a heavily wintered area, but I don't know how everyone else is going to handle the winter driving because they're not from a snow dense area. And so that's the only thing that worries me is I got to watch out for everyone else while I'm driving. But yeah, I got my coffee. I'm trying some new ones because they looked tasty. Like, I mean, Thin Mints. Ooh, that sounds really good. And it is actually pretty good. And then I've got the other one I grabbed. S'mores. Coffee, breakfast of champions, right? But yeah, I'm getting my last good look at the Rockies. And then I won't see them for probably another year. It'll probably be, maybe, hopefully less than a year. We'll see. All depends how quickly I can make the money and pack the money away. That's how it goes, right? Not much else of an update. It's just morning of day 2. I don't see, there's probably not, might be something I stop to look at, and then I'll take you guys with me if I do. But really, I just plan on driving most of it. I've got work's already lined up, and so if I can get there, the sooner I can get there, the sooner I can unpack, the sooner I can rest, and the sooner I can get ready again for work. And that's a lot of what I'm thinking right now. That's a lot of what I'm thinking, is just get there, relax. We have a minor electrical issue at the house. I'm going to see what I can do. Hopefully it's something easy to fix. I'm going to check the plugs and stuff. If it's not something easy to fix, well then boo-hoo. And then I've also got to get her used to the new house when we get there. She's a pretty good companion. She only gets noisy when she gets worried or tired. If I haven't reached back and pet her in a while, that's when she starts to go, okay, no, you got to touch me again. Remind me that you're here. So when there's a straightaway on the road, I just kind of reach back and touch her. But yeah, no, I was able to fit a lot more stuff in the car than what I thought. So not only am I bringing my Flames of War tanks, I'm actually being able to bring my Sisters of Battle. So I'm very happy about that. And I have all my paints in the back too, so I can do some painting. I'm happy about that. And I have a box of craft supplies, including some molding clay. But no, you can't. I know. Do you need to use the restroom? Or are you just done? You're like, I've been in the car for a day. It has been 24 hours, Joe. And it has. Well, not quite, because I woke up at 8 yesterday, but I didn't leave at 8. We didn't leave until 10. So we still have another hour and a half before we've been in for 24 hours. Either she's looking at me because I'm talking to myself. Whoop. Okay. I may not be able to do this part one-handed, Alice. We're starting to get into some curves. I'm going to slow down a bit. I don't need to follow the speed limit all the time. You can drive lower than the speed limit. Did you know that, people? By the way, I'm not paid by Dunkin' Donuts to show off that I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts. But so far, I really like the mint one because I like mint. Okay, here's a little straightaway. I'll pet you during the straightaway. Yeah, is that so? Like I said, I piled everything flat and then laid all my blankets on top, so that way she had some nice flat surfaces to lay on that gave her a height, so that way she can see everything. She can burrow in the blankets, which she's done a couple of times. She did that during Provo. She didn't like it, so she crawled up under the blankets. All right, here's some curves. I got to put my arm, both hands on the steering wheel. Safety first, even when your cat wants cuddles. But yeah, as Vic said, she can sense the evil of the Karens because there's a lot of Karens around the Provo area. But that may just be because he works retail. Well, he's a manager in retail, so that's even worse. I want to speak to your manager. I am the manager. I want to speak to your general manager. I am the general manager. Well, I want to speak to your boss. He will tell you the same exact thing that I'm telling you now, and he's not even here, and he won't come here. I can just give you his phone number, or not his phone number. I can connect you if you really want to. But nothing's going to happen. Nothing will magically change just because you talk to someone that's of higher rank. I don't understand that. Policy doesn't magically change. And you high-ranking managers, if you do magically change policy just because someone's complaining, get rid of the policy. Because obviously, if you're not going to follow it, there's no point in having it. And back up your workers. It doesn't quite taste like the cookies, but that is some good mint. Yes, I know I'm driving the speed limit people behind me. I apologize. Give them a piece of your mind, Alice. Huh? So is this how I should keep the camera from now on pointing at Alice instead of me? Because we all know that's what you guys really want. All right. Well, anyways, this is the morning of day 2. I've been talking for about 15 minutes. I think that's a good update for the morning. Like I said, if something else happens, I'll make a second video. If not, I'll see you guys either tonight where I stop or tomorrow morning where I explain where I spent the night. Have a nice one. I'd give you a tour of where I spent the night last time, but it was Vig's house, and I'm pretty sure his wife, hi wifey, but I'm pretty sure she wouldn't appreciate me giving a tour because according to her, it's messy. And I'm like, well, it looks more lived in than messy, but that's not counting the kids' room. Kids' room's messy. Kids' rooms are always messy, especially when they're under the age of 10. Well, when they're under the age of 20. Sometimes even over the age of 20, like my room. My room was messy. What's sad is this is my 4th time moving away from home. The first time, I moved to the town right next to us in the apartment complex my sister owned at the time. And so I lived above I lived above my dad's bookstore. So I had my dad's bookstore below, so I could actually, I didn't work there at the time because I had a different job. Dad couldn't pay me as much. I worked there on weekends still because I loved working at the bookstore. I mean, who doesn't love working at a used bookstore? I got paid in books. I know. If I saw a book I really liked, Dad would be like, yeah, sure, you can take it home, read it, and then put it back on the shelf and we'll sell it. I know. and so that was the first place I moved to. Second place I moved to was when I went to College of Southern Idaho. I lived in the dorms. So the first one, I picked a bad roommate. He took half of my stuff, moved out, and I never saw him again. As far as I know, he's living actually in the Salt Lake area as well. Although, oh dang, um, I should have talked to Furman. He lives in Salt Lake. I should have said goodbye to him before I left. Anyways, but accordingly, the guy, he lives in the Salt Lake area. That's all I know because other people still keep in contact with him. I'm kind of like, well, whatever. He lost his job, and he told me he found a new job. He just needed me to pay the rent for a couple months until he got the new job. So I was like, I paid his side of the rent as well as mine. And then I came home one day, and all of his stuff was cleared out, and some of my stuff was cleared out, and he was gone. And one day when I came home from work, and I was like, well, I'm not going to pay entirely for this rent for myself, even though I can kind of do it. I guess this is the sign. It's time to head back to college. So that's because I had gone to BYUI before. But at that time, I was living at home when I went to BYUI because we lived just outside of the Rexburg area. All right, keep right, except to pass. I'm going to let tons of people to pass me right now because I am a slower driver than what they want. So CSI was the second time. And then the third time, I moved up to the top of the hill on Rexburg. I lived there with several of my friends. Lived there for almost a year. It was a pretty good one. And then stuff happened. It's a longer story. I might as well tell it. We'll make this video a long video, apparently. But basically, so there's the 4th of July, and 4th of July, and then right after the 4th of July is Pioneers Day, and Pioneers Day is a huge out west Mormon holiday because it is basically the day, it celebrates the Utah pioneers and the Mormon pioneers and just the pioneers, really. So it's a back out west holiday that traveled across that huge stretch of land to settle this area. And so there's a lot of fireworks in July. And then there's the next month, and there's no fireworks are allowed. It's still in, I think it was Pioneers Day, but there's no fireworks allowed on the apartment complex. There's tons of places you can still do fireworks, but there's none allowed on the apartment complex. Now, one of my friends that I was living with has PTSD from his time in the military. He was a forward observer, which is a scary job in among itself. Basically, they're the guys that sneak up on the enemy with binoculars, with the laser pointer, with stuff like that, and they call in the artillery strikes and the drone strikes and stuff. So they're in the area for visual confirmation when the strikes hit. So after the strikes hit, the enemy, basically, they're the ones that kick the hornet's nest, that are not equipped to deal if the hornets find them. If the hornets find them, they're dead. They have a very short, they're told if we were ever to go to war with a nation that's anywhere near us on the industrial level, they're dead. Because they will be able to call in the strike, and before their strike will hit, the counter strike will hit them. Because of the triangulation and stuff. Although the ISIS and various other groups that we were dealing with was getting really good at calling in the reverse strikes as well. Anyways, so he's got PTSD. And normally, during the 4th of July, he leaves the area, goes out in the middle of nowhere and stuff. But there's not supposed to be any fireworks happening. And suddenly a whole bunch of fireworks start happening just outside our window. By the way, it is midnight that these fireworks start firing off. So I open the window and I say, hey, it's midnight. Please stop with your fireworks. The fireworks keep going off. And so I call at the window again. I'm going to call the cops. Fireworks keep happening, and so I decide to be nice one more time and go down and ask them to stop politely. Needless to say, cops were called. Not on us, by the way. Cops were called on them. But they now saw our faces, the people we called the cops on, that live in the apartment complex. So she tries to claim to the cops when the cops were called, oh, these two big men, and she talks with she didn't talk with an accent. She didn't talk with an accent. As soon as the cops get there, she talks with an accent. It's like, oh, these two big men, they come down, they threaten me and my children. They threaten us with sticks, because I walked with a cane. I've had a surgery since then. And she's like, they threatened me with sticks, they threatened me, and I'm standing over there holding a cane. And I'm like, what? I walk with it. That's not threatening. But I am big. I'll admit to that. It's like, they threatened me with sticks. They threatened to beat me to death. And I'm just sitting there waiting as the cops are talking. I'm not, yelling or saying, no, that didn't happen. I'm just sitting there. And then we break up, go to the two different places. And the cops write them up because we didn't do anything illegal. They're shooting off fireworks at midnight in a no fireworks zone in the middle of a city. In the middle of an apartment complex in the city. Guess who gets written up? Not us. They get written up. But they saw my face. So they then write the owner of the apartment complex. And I know all this because later on I talked with the owner of the apartment complex. But yeah, so they talk to the owner of the apartment complex and tell him that they called the cops on us for threatening them. So he doesn't he doesn't look at any of the evidence. It also doesn't help, although it doesn't help that earlier, much earlier, 2 months of rent didn't make it to him. And that was before several of my other roommates lived there. In fact, that was when someone else owned the lease, but whatever. 2 months of rent hadn't reached him. We had already talked to him about that. And we're going to pay him back, and told him, yeah, no, I'll pay you back. We'll pay you for those 2 months. I just need to sell some stuff because I can continue to make the month's rent. But then to pay all my bills and make these 2 months rent that we missed, I'm going to need a little more time to build up that money and pay you off. Do you need to go to the restroom, or are you trying to come down and hide? Because if you're going for here, you can. If she goes that way, then I'll let her. Or are you just tired? Which one are you going? Do you need a potty? I'm not gonna stick my hands actually in the kitty litter. That'd be dumb. No? Okay. No, you just were trying to sneak down? Okay. I'll have to quit soon, I guess. But anyways, let's see, where was I? So she told the manager. So he, this is 2 to 3 weeks later, we get a policeman that comes to our door, and I'm like, oh, hello. Now, I had called in that there was a theft on some of my pills. So that's what I thought this was about. Some of my pain pills had gone missing. Like, I had run out a good 2 weeks before I was supposed to run out. This is when I was taking heavy pain pills. That shouldn't happen. Anyways, so the cops show up and I'm like, oh, hello, thinking that it has to do with that. And then they hand me this thing and say, you've been served, and walked away. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I open it, and it says, you've been evicted. Yay. So I'm like, okay. So I call the guy who owned the lease at that time, and told him we'd been evicted. And he's like, wait, what the heck? And so we call around and stuff like that. And when we're already packed up and getting ready to move, the landlord calls, and I talk to the landlord, and yeah, he finally tells me why we're being evicted and stuff. And I'm like, did you read the police report? He's like, there was a police report? I'm like, there's always a police report. If the police are involved, they have to write a report. We weren't the ones that the police were called on. And he's like, what? We were not the ones that got written up. They were firing off fireworks on the front lawn. He's like, oh, well, I guess, maybe you can stay. And at this point, like, it was a crappy apartment and a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not going to stay. Plus, also, we had been trying for months to get him our information because he kept losing it. He didn't even know we were living there. In all actuality, he's like, wait, you guys are living, like, this was a while ago. He's like, you guys are living there? It's like, yeah, why do you think we've been paying rent? He's like, you've been paying rent? Yeah. And he had to look up on his bank, and it's like, oh yeah, no, you guys are paying rent. Like, he didn't even know we were there paying rent. That's bunch of red flag. It's a shitty, yeah. Someone else owns the apartment complex now. That tells you all you need to know about it. But yeah, oh. And so that was the third place. This will now be the fourth time that I have moved away from home, and the fourth time. And I'm hoping, and they made the joke that each time I moved farther away. And so this time I decided to move across the United States to make it so that way I couldn't move back home. And that may be part of the reason that I did this, is I can't move back home now. Not easily at all. I have to, when I move out, I basically have to stay there. I've got to make this work. I can speed up now past this truck. It's a semi, so it was one of the few things that moved slower than me. But yeah. So this is the fourth time I moved away. You guys had a little bit of story time. This is now a half-hour long vlog. Talk to you all later.